All right, and we're back for another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our shows. And if you can, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do anything that you can to support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Lakerholics.com, and the wonderful folks at the Hoopheads Podcast Network. It is sincerely appreciated. Lakers win! Lakers win! Okay, I'm not getting too excited because it is just the Summer League, but the Lakers, with a last 2-minute surge, did pull ahead of the Phoenix Suns 73-72 in a game that you can just clearly say, especially based on the first half, is Summer League at its finest. For all of its faults and for all the things here in Vegas that goes down, it is a Summer League game. Just warts and all. Just turnovers all over the place, bad passing all over the place, bad shooting, especially in the first half, which was really ugly. But the Lakers, who went down by as many as 9, I believe, in the third quarter, rallied in the fourth quarter and pulled out the game. But here today to talk about the game and also a major extension for the team in Frank Vogel. And you know who here has always a great thing to say, one maybe not, about Frank Vogel, but we'll hear what he has to say. Two great guests indeed. First up, it is the man behind 5 Things at Lakerholics.com. It is Jamie Sweet. And Jamie, great to have you here, my friend. I'm here in Vegas. I know Rafael Barlow's somewhere out there. Big shout out to you, my friend, who's probably just leaving the Thomas and Mack right now. I know he's headed on out, as he said. Now get this, guys, on his show, the Locked On NBA Draft Show, he is actually from the Summer League going to go work out a client of his in Los Angeles and traveling by bus overnight for the next 3 nights to Los Angeles to train one of his clients. Like I said, maybe Dwayne Dedmon, I'm not sure, because he just signed a contract with the Miami Heat, and then coming back the next morning for Summer League. So you know what? Just this guy is incredible. I wish him all the best. I am trying to see if we can arrange a meeting so I can just thank him in person for everything that he's done for us here at the Lakers Fast Break. So I'm gonna try to, but he's a hard man to catch up to.
Yeah, right.
But Jamie, great to have you here. It is Summer League. It is what it is. It's out there. First off, I've seen a lot of good and a whole lot of bad today, but when it comes to the Lakers, hey, a win's a win, right?
I mean, it's Summer League. A win is, quote-unquote, a win. None of this matters. Anybody who's on the Summer League team is going to be, fodder for practice on the big team. And
because they're going to sit all the old guys out for the most part in practices.
For the regular season?
Yeah.
I hope not. These guys
they
better practice a little bit.
A little bit. They'll practice a little bit, but having older guys on the roster.
Yeah, no, I know. That's one of that's up there among my worries. Is well, we can get to that another time. As far as the Summer League team, nice to see K Cock back. G League, Summer League mainstay.
Europe.
Yep. I always like to see that. The two ways got some minutes. They looked like guys who just came out of college and are going to take a while to get their footing in the NBA.
That's for sure. I mean, Joel Ayayi didn't score. Austin Reeves, and I was joking to you this on the side. I think when Austin Reeves and Mac McClung are on the same court at the same time, and that's our backcourt, it looks like an Indiana high school team. And they look like they're 14 years old, and they come on there, and it's just like they don't. There was one play when Austin Reeves threw an alley-oop to Mac McClung, and Mac McClung tried to slam it for the alley-oop, and he got fouled. And I think all the Phoenix Suns, when they gathered around, were so mad that a kid that looks like he's 13 got behind him.
Right.
I think that was the part that was funny, because they were literally just angry at each other for allowing the kid that looks like that coming in there. But yeah, you're right, Jamie. I mean, I don't think anybody can really take away too much from the game tonight. I mean, these are kids that at the most, like you said, will be fodder for the G League. And at the best, maybe a 14th or 15th kid on the roster by the end of the year, or maybe even next year at the earliest. But yeah, just some really hard things to get away with on that. Just some hard things to take away from at this point.
I think they'll get some call-up time in the big on the NBA stage. I just don't think that they're going to see a meaningful role. I think that they'll be up for practice, and they'll be up for if there happens to, whatever garbage time minutes they happen to be up there for. I don't expect them to be like, all right, let's see, it's the third quarter, let's see what you can do here. But I don't at least not early on, not for the first 3 quarters, 4/5 of the season.
But Lakers Twitter has already fell in love with Mac McClung.
Sure. Lakers Twitter fell in love with Andrew Bynum, and everybody falls in love with a G Leaguer. That's what's fun about a summer leaguer.
Please don't attach your goat. Just don't attach the goat just yet, like you did with Caruso.
Oh man, no, I will not be disrespecting Alex Caruso. So.
Yes, but also here today to talk about the game, and also the extension for Frank Vogel is a good man indeed. He is the mastermind behind LakerHolics.com. It is LakerTom and Tom. I mean, the Lakers pulled out the win. That's good. They're 2-1 on the season because they did play a couple games in the California Classic in Sacramento. And, after 3 games, I mean, just seeing any of these kids, I don't think right now they're ready for the main roster. But it's just nice to see, for me at this point in time, because I love the Summer League, about all the hopefuls, all the eyes that are looked there, all the things that they do. But there's a lot of rookies that show a lot of promise. There's a lot of rookies that don't show a lot of promise. But you can't take away everything right now from what they do or don't do in Summer League.
No, it's just Summer League at its best. We've come a long way since Lonzo Ball and that Summer League team.
2017.
I mean, it's really pretty amazing. And when you think back at what a Summer League, all the way down to every time Matt Thomas pops up on a roster somewhere, it brings me back to that wonderful time that we had in that Summer League. That was one of the special moments, and unfortunately, it's not being replicated this year.
No. Although, if you're interested in Michael Beasley's playing on the Portland Summer League roster.
Oh God! I thought I knew the rules about who could play on a Summer League team, but obviously I don't.
No. I mean, if you're an old, aging veteran that wants to get back in the league, you can find a spot.
You can play in Summer League. G League is different. Summer League is basically like a casting call.
I got you. Yeah, you're right about that, Jamie. There is a distinction there, and I was probably thinking more of the G League.
Come on down to Vegas. Come on down.
I mean, they need anybody to fill those rosters on occasion, because you can have only so many rookies and young players that can fill up those rosters that can actually competently play.
Right. Well, it was good to see Frank get an extension, although we haven't heard any terms of what they are. When you have the money the Lakers do, you don't de-incentivize your employees by not giving them a raise that everybody else would expect you to give.
Well, let me ask you,
when the guys won a championship, and injuries may have been the only thing preventing him from winning a second one.
Well, let me ask you this.
You have to take care of him in advance before. You can't let him go out as a lame duck. And the Lakers did the right thing, the smart thing, the only thing they really could do.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, I agree with extending Frank Vogel, and we'll talk to Jamie Sweet, who's been, I want to say, the biggest detractor of our group that, as far as Frank Vogel is concerned, or let me say the most vocal about Frank Vogel, one way or the other. That's probably the best way to say it. But Tom, I'm worried about the coaching staff per se, because you still have Phil Handy there, I believe. And you got Mike Penberthy, who did such an outstanding job, and I'm being very facetious as I say that, in regards to a shooting coach. There's talk about him moving him up to the assistant coach, and I don't really get that, because he, just even as a player, it's just like he wasn't even there in the first place. But you saw that's my sentiment exactly on Mike Penberthy there, Jamie. But I wanted to ask you this. I mean, are you kind of worried because the Lionel Holland situation, not retaining him? I guess they made him. Lakers didn't like the offer, or they didn't. They made an offer, it was too low ball. Lionel Hollins didn't agree to it, and so he's moving on. And just it seems to me that I'm with a staff like this, if you want to really go out and do what the Lakers did just less than a year ago, you want to have a nice staff underneath Frank Vogel. And I know it went back, almost 2 seasons ago. It went from, okay, you've got Jason Kidd, who's probably wants to take your job. You've got Lionel Hollins, who looks like he might take your job. That's that environment that we thought might be there never materialized, but still, you do want some experience behind you. And outside of Phil Handy, I'm really concerned about the Lakers coaching staff behind Vogel.
I think that Frank is I don't think any of this stuff bothers him, and I don't think any of these changes. I think what happens is that when you win, it covers up everything. It covers up all the little incidences between relationships that your employees have, and there's always something going on between somebody. It's just like this year we hear about Dennis and Kuz having, a tiff during the year, and you hear all of these remarks, and of course the reason is we lost. A lot of that stuff we might not have even heard had we won. I think you worry about everything, Gerald. Seriously, it's more a case, I think, that it comes down to a personal thing. I think that Vogel is very secure in his role as the head coach. I don't think he's been threatened in that situation since he arrived here. I think he's a great communicator. I think there may have been too many cooks in the kitchen, if you will, because apparently Lionel's complaint really was that he was left out of the communication loop and so forth. And yet that seems contrary to the style of almost everything I've seen happen with the Pelinka-led Lakers, that they're a total collaboration. And sometimes they over-collaborate rather than, having a George Blanda just to make, or a Dr. Bust just to make the decision, when it's a tough one, instead of having maybe sometimes a whole day of arguing whether we should trade for this guy or not trade for this guy. But it's worked so far for the Lakers, and I think that I try not to worry about any of those situations, But you're a fan, so naturally you do. I write articles about what alarms me. You bring up the subjects that alarm you, and everybody, has their own point of view on how the season has gone. I found myself on a roller coaster, where I was disappointed in the first moment and then elated when I started to think about, the whole situation. And then all of a sudden, when I started worrying about all of these minimum contracts we have and not having any trading chips going forward, I got a little bit down. But, I'm on another rise, just thinking that, I actually think that everybody's underestimating the Lakers. I really
not Vegas.
Yeah, even though I'm of the vision of Jamie was on day one, that Russ is going to make people eat their words. When you think of what he'll do with those possessions that we wasted on Dennis Schroeder, it's going to be a major difference. It's the old issue. It's not going to be the fourth and fifth starter for the Lakers. It's going to be Russell Westbrook and how he fits in with the Lakers. And if he's at the perfect age, just like Dwight was, the perfect age and the perfect situation to take advantage of it. And it's that old argument about Russ that he's not a winner, and everybody looks at Russ and they have an attitude that, well, can the Lakers make him a winner? It really should be, can Russ make the Lakers a winner, not the other way around? And it's a distinction that's really critical here, because everybody, 9 out of 10 articles I read are critical of the Russ, of trading for Russ, just because they figure that you can't make it work. And it's such a contrast to when Brooklyn traded for Harden, and all you heard was, Harden, who never in his life has adjusted to anything, was going to just totally become a facilitator. Well,
and he did for the most part.
He did for the most part. But
fortunately for them, they never had a chance to have all three of them healthy at the same time in order to really figure out what it would work. So they're always just running the your turn, my turn, two superstar offensive system. But so as I said, I'm happy the Lakers didn't screw around with Frank, and try to leave him hanging in the air, give him his dang raise. if you don't like what he did at the end of the year, fire him, but don't hang him out there in public.
Well, with the Lakers, they have enough money on hand. If he does a poor job, or if the team slides down,
they'll pay his contract.
Yeah, they'll fire him and they'll sit on the contract. That's not a problem. They're not a team that. Okay, sometimes they try to act like a team that
like the Sacramento Kings that refuse to fire.
Well, I mean, the Lakers
Walton.
sometimes act like they're a team that penny pinches, and then you realize, okay, yeah, they're worth $4 billion and they make a ton of money. So
that's market value, though. That's
exactly
not exactly cash.
Yeah, and if LeBron sours on Vogel, at whatever point, that it's going to mean Vogel's job. So but right now I think it is a well-deserved, extension. I think, obviously you says you have confidence in him. I'm worried about the offense because that's something that has not been his forte during his tenure. So that's why I'm talking to LakerTom about having enough support staff underneath him that can help him improve areas of his coaching, which I need.
Yeah,
I think
we'd all like an offensive coordinator. I think that's
that's
universal.
That's all I'm saying, Tom.
Feeling,
that's all I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, defensively, there's no question.
Frank's great defensively, but offensively,
And even at this time, I still think, even with the ancient guys that they got, I still think that they can coach he can coach their way into, like I say, a 10th, 11th, 12th defensive rated team. You know what I mean? Even with the advantage of disadvantage.
They'll even do better than that because of how important LeBron and AD are.
And I wouldn't be surprised.
If LeBron and AD are healthy, and if Russ really
that's the
playing
key.
defense to his capabilities, you have three pretty strong anchors in there, and you throw in Dwight coming in.
And I'm not even talking about
Ariza. If Ariza can recover and have a bounce back year, we could be pretty good defensively.
Well, if we're anywhere near top 10, that's great because the fact is our shooting improved and our transition improved with Russell Westbrook. And I'm not when it comes to Russell Westbrook, I'm not talking the regular season. I never talked about regular season because the Lakers, they should lead the Western Conference. They should be number one in the Western Conference. I think again. If LeBron and AD are healthy, well, you got to tell me who, because Phoenix, I don't expect Phoenix to rise that high again. You cannot go ahead and say they overexceeded their expectations. Utah
this year's Miami.
Utah. Utah's still up in the air because of all things that are going on there. I really think the Lakers can be, number one in the West. I mean, if LeBron and AD are healthy, those guys can take us 4 and win 40 games. So just imagine with regular NBA players, you're talking about 55, 60 wins there.
And Kawhi's going to be out most of the year.
For me, it's about the matchups in the playoffs.
Out most of the year.
It's going to be hard to see what those matchups are going to be. I'm
not even sure what they are yet. But again, that's where I'm worried about Russell Westbrook when I've made criticisms about the trade. It's not for the season, because during the season I think the Lakers are going to be fine. It's the playoffs. Like for instance against the Nets. I mean, the Nets have a sheer advantage in the backcourt. The Lakers have a sheer advantage in the front court, and that's you're talking about the semantics there. And
the Lakers have a sheer advantage defensively.
We'll see. We'll see about
that. Remains to be seen.
Let's see on that one first.
We're all just farting on the wind here. Like this.
If AD plays,
the only question would be: Is Harden anywhere close to being as good as Westbrook could be?
Well, let's see. AD's got to play like AD. If he plays like the guy we know he can. I know I'm getting to you, my friend. But also here today to talk about whether it's the Summer League or also Frank Vogel's ascension. He's a guy who just popped on, which you got to catch at Lakerholics.com. Got to catch all the great things he's saying. He's a good man indeed. It is our madman from Canada, who is still alive after all the destruction in Toronto, with Toronto winning, and all that. But is a good man indeed. It is Sean Grice, a.k.a. MagicMan. MagicMan, great to have you here. Your thoughts on Frank Vogel's extension, because the Summer League, the Lakers team, we'd much rather talk about Frank Vogel's extension. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I agree, Gerald, 100%. We'll just forget that game just happened. It's
I mean, the
Just
Lakers
Ben
won.
Black.
God bless them. God bless them. But yeah, that team does not have any standouts that you can say, you know what, that guy's going to make a real contribution this year.
Nobody's going to make the
Yeah.
varsity.
Yes.
No.
And in Mac McClung's case, he might not even make junior varsity because he still
Yeah.
looks like he's 12.
His goal is to be Alex.
There you go. But go ahead, Sean.
Yeah. All bets are off when it comes to anybody. We don't know what's in somebody's heart, but yeah, Mac looks like he's David more than Goliath right now as far as but as far as Vogel's extension, I mean, I think the consensus is clear. It's well earned. He deserved it. But like you said, Gerald, there's always a parachute waiting to just pop him out into.
Well, he
wide
has a
open.
sigh of relief because now he doesn't have like Jason Kidd or Lionel Hollins who have extensive coaching experience right behind him. He doesn't have to worry about that, even though the press and we probably made it more out to be as bigger than it actually was as far as the hot seat is concerned, because it was never hot because he ended up winning the championship. But, I'm just worried, when I talked to LakerTom and Jamie Sweet about this, it's the support that I think he needs. I'm worried about that part of it because while Phil Handy, nobody questions about him and the effort he's given the team over the past 3 years and 3 seasons and the outstanding job he's done there. It's everything else. And I think that LakerTom said it right when an offensive coordinator is needed. MagicMan, do you concur with LakerTom and myself on that? That I think that he needs a little help making a little bit more imaginative offense. That's one of Jamie Sweet's biggest contentions and has been for months.
I think there's some validity to that perception, Gerald. Definitely. The only problem I see is that we're so far down the road here. I'm not sure if you could find somebody who's ready to jump on the train while it's moving right now. I thought maybe the time for that would be a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. The Lakers decided, even after the first round exit, they were going to extend Frank. It was just a matter of timing.
Yeah.
As far as the speculation about what's going on in the West, Gerald, I'd have to agree with you. I think we should be at least a top 3 seed, even with a couple injuries here and there. I think that's a realistic goal. I said on Lakerholics earlier that I thought that this team wouldn't really take form until about February. I think that's when you'll start to see some patterns and some guys that Frank and the coaching staff and LeBron and AD click with, and I think a bench mob will come out of this. I really do. I just think it's going to take time as far as that's concerned. Malik Monk's offense is and can be very proficient. However, his defense is questionable, and I'd rather Talon get minutes over Malik Monk just based on skill set and where Talon is. I think Talon is a more versatile offensive player than Malik Monk, and I think while his defense is still a work in progress, I was really pleased with his performance. I mean, he really improved. He rarely made the same mistake twice. I would have liked to see more minutes in the playoffs, but for some reason, inexplicably to me still, because there's still no explanation why Talon didn't get any minutes or why he was benched, basically.
Got that. It's all about the J. It's all about the J, my friend.
I know. I understand in today's game that's a necessity, but Gerald, with our injuries, I really didn't think we had anything to lose by popping him in there and seeing what he could do.
That's a point. That's a good point. So I'm hoping THT can find some more consistency. He's 20, so he has time to build up his game. I'm hoping the early habits that I see that he has now are not going to translate and continue going forward, that he can work on his game, work on his ability to finish. I mean, he's to me, a lot of it's three quarters there. And then that last bit of being able to put the ball through the hoop seems to still be an issue. And then also shooting as well. But yes, Sean, before I hit up Jamie with his thoughts on Frank Vogel, because I'm very interested in that. Go ahead. Some last thoughts.
Yeah, no, Gerald. I also wanted to get this across, and I couldn't put it in an article. I thought it'd be better if it was spoken. If you look at the type of players that Rob and LeBron and AD and the staff were thinking about putting around, they're all very similar body types. Malik Monk and THT, Trevor Ariza, Kent Bazemore. They're all long and lean. There's not a lot of big, muscular guys, on the perimeter. So while in essence I agree with some criticisms that, they may get picked on in the pick and roll, and I think that's true to an extent, I also think there's a quality of Frank's teaching methods as a defensive coach that will allow players to be successful at what they're good at defensively. In other words, Frank is a very adept at finding what you're good at defensively and giving you opportunities to play more. He gives people opportunities if you show what you have defensively.
Well, you mentioned the team gelling in February. The only thing I would add to that is I say that's probably the case if everybody stays relatively healthy. But LeBron and AD are fresh going into the season, and they could literally ride, or carry this entire team to a good record until that point when the rest of the team catches up with them. So if that's the case and they're healthy and AD plays like the defensive player of the year and an MVP candidate, and LeBron still plays like LeBron before Solomon Hill rolled over his leg, I think you got to watch out for this team. And as far as in the regular season concerned, they could surprise a lot of people at the top of the Western Conference. But the top 3 seed, I see that as well. But Jamie, Frank Vogel, extension. This is someone, again, who you told about as far as on the offensive end, has needed a lot of work. But my friend, I want the last word on this with you. So please share your thoughts on Frank Vogel's extension.
Well, I'm hoping in year 3 of the Frank Vogel era, we see what the Frank Vogel offense looks like, because it looks like, hey, let's put the ball in superstar A, B, or C's hand, and we'll go from there. Which is a bit of a joke. I think Tom's point about can't have him being a lame duck going into the season is very astute. And I also think MagicMan's point about him finding your defensive contribution and unlocking it is astute. I mean, he's a great defensive coach. There's no taking that away from him. He's like the Mike D'Antoni of defensive coaches. He encourages and gets you to play the best defense you possibly can, where Mike D'Antoni encourages and gets you to be the best offensive player you possibly can. And if there was only a way we could take both men and put them in a lab, and the man with 2 brains comes to mind with Steve Martin. If anybody,
well, he was open. He left Brooklyn. He could have. Lakers could have had him, but now he decided to be an advisor on the Pelicans.
There's no way the rootin' tootin' Mike D'Antoni system's coming back to LA. Not after the way. There's no way. He's not coming back. We
run the LeBron James system.
That's what we run. Yeah. Well, now we're going to run the Russell Westbrook system. So this is this is going to be Frank's biggest challenge this year, is getting those 2 guys to agree. They're both are used to having the ball in their hands all the time, all year long. Not like, like even in Miami when LeBron tried to give it to Dwayne Wade ultimately was like,
you don't think they've already agreed?
Look, it's all fine and good to agree over chicken rotisserie, a month before the season. I mean, that's this. Yes, I do think they are like, yep.
Might have been on Taco Tuesday. You never know.
Right, but like when the game is on the line and Russ is like, give me room, and LeBron's like, bro, like that's when Frank's gonna have to earn this extension. So we haven't seen that. We're not there yet. So yes, I'm sure they all agreed over Alfredo and rolls or whatever it was they had for dinner that night. But that means nothing when the regular season starts, and it means even less when the playoffs roll around.
Overall, you're okay with the Frank Vogel extension.
I mean, who would anybody nominate to take over at this point, right? Like, I feel like they're gonna let Frank go until LeBron and or AD says, like this isn't working for me anymore. That's it. They're gonna let it roll like they let Byron Scott roll with Kobe. It's gonna be, however, that's how it's gonna go down.
But the only thing is, though, that Vogel has the championship with him, and that's something that you get a little bit of at least a leeway in there.
He's not David Blatt. He's not David Blatt.
No, he's not David Blatt. But I mean, right. So, like, right, David Blatt, Terry Stotts.
Well, the thing is with David Blatt, you got to say that, okay, LeBron hated his guts, but the guy was leading the Eastern Conference at the time he was fired. So
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But that's what I'm saying. If LeBron says,
you got to go, no matter what your record is.
You're leading the Western Conference and it's Game 7 of the Western Finals. You're fired.
You're gone. Yes.
You're like, bye. Don't go say hi to the team or anything. LeBron doesn't want to talk to you. No, I mean, I kind of joke, but I mean, who would replace him? Terry Stotts, Steve Clifford. Those are probably
Becky Hammond. There you go. Put in Becky Hammond.
But no, that's not going to happen with this team right now, right? Like that's not how this team. That's not going to happen with this team.
She has to wait until Pop. She has to wait until Pop retires, because no one else. She'll just interview, and no one else is going to be able to. No one else wants to go ahead and hire her, else she would have been hired by now. I think she's a great coach. I've seen her work. I've seen her interact with her players. I've actually watched Spurs games, and I've seen the way she talks to the players and the way they respect her. She's going to be a great coach when she's given the opportunity, and I'll just leave it at that.
Better be a good opportunity, though, because
not right now in the Spurs.
Going to be easy. It's not going to be easy.
I mean, Pop is about ready to leave here in the next couple of years or whatever, and they're not going to be a good team.
I think he would have left and given her the opportunity or be anticipating that. But I have a feeling that he's going to just try to last as long as he can.
And they're going to win 20 games, and then they're going to say, "Here you go, Becky," and that's unfortunate for her.
Yeah, and that's going to be the unfortunate part about it.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Well, you think they're decent right now?
No, not in that sense.
You're predicting playoffs, I see.
I agree 100% there. I was talking about Becky Hammond. I made this point earlier. Look, Greg Popovich once said that if he never became an NBA head coach, he would work in the CIA. This is a very intelligent man, and he thinks on a different level than most people. And I don't think he would bring Becky Hammond in as a coach and treat her like every other coach and see something in her as a person that would elevate her to be respected by other people.
But you got to remember, he also brought in Tim Duncan for a year. Tim Duncan was supposed to be the heir apparent, and he backed out, and he left. He bailed. Back into retirement. Yeah.
He bailed.
But even though Becky Hammond was there the whole time.
Yeah, and he admitted it. He said, "I didn't like this. It's hard." So I bailed.
It's hard.
He was honest about it.
Yeah. Well, I think Becky Hammond's going to kill it whenever she's a coach. I just worry, like LakerTom and we've trying to allude to.
You have to have a team that you can kill it with, though.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's the problem.
Because when he retires, how bad will the Spurs be? Because right now they don't seem to be heading in the right direction. I don't like the moves that they have in this offseason. Doug McDermott is not going to change around your franchise no matter what contract you throw at him. So, I mean, at this point, it's a wait and see. Could all that young talent develop in the Spurs? Yes, and they could maybe make an 8 seed, possibly. But I'm leaning towards the other way. To me, as far as their direction is concerned. But that's
Today,
again.
The Admiral and Timmy are gone.
Yeah, they're gone for now. But guys, before we head on out, I want to go ahead and ask you this. Is something off topic I forgot to ask you guys that we touched on today. But the thoughts on the starting lineup, because a lot of people are saying that, like LakerTom and what we saw with Mark Stein reporting that AD is going to be playing a lot more of the 5. There's even rumors that they might even start as the 4 and 5. But most likely we're going to probably see a traditional let's throw Marc Gasol out there in the starting lineup and see what works, which I see a lot of head shaking. I agree with you guys wholeheartedly, but I'm hearing a lot of individuals out there, analysts are predicting that it's going to go the way it was before, which I am hoping smarter heads prevail and that they will start AD at the 5 and go from there. But guys, before we end on out, I want to hear your thoughts on the starting lineup.
Quick.
Well, let's start with LakerTom. LakerTom, if you were coaching right now, or actually, you know what? If you're Mr. Predictor right now, at the beginning of the season, everybody's healthy, gets your training camp fine. What's your starting 5 that you think will be?
I'm going to talk it into an existence because it has to be. It has
You do.
Russell Westbrook at the 1, LeBron James at the 4, Anthony Davis at the 5. Now the 2 and 3, I think, are going to be decided at the end of camp when we see how everybody does.
Okay.
But I think I'm going to make some guesses. I'm going to guess that because we used most of our MLE for him, that none is going to start at one of those 2 spots. So he's probably the 2. And then the 3 is going to be interesting because we really want 2 shooters out there. Okay. I'm going to go with Ariza because I think we need the defense and the size 6'8". But I could, again, I think it could be any combination of the 5 guys. I think that, definitely Wayne Ellington is got to be in there because first off, he's one of the best. He's one of probably next to Steph. He's probably the best guy at repositioning after he takes a pass and repositioning. So he's got an open shot. He shoots 6 a game. So he's a good possibility. Bazemore, because of his defense again, although he's only 6'4", is a good possibility. There's THT. What if THT comes into camp and shoots 45% for the entire preseason and so forth? There's a possibility that when you put that together with the other skills that he's got, he's definitely in the picture. So I don't care who it is in the 2 and 3. The big decision is really if you go and fill up the 5 with Gasol. The big problem I have with that is that I think this team is built to do 2 things: to be fast and physical. And that's whether Westbrook is going to make us so much faster. We are going to blaze down the court. And the last thing you want if you're trying to do that is Marc Gasol trudging along as the trailer. That just doesn't work. And you can't put Howard out there because he can't shoot. And that makes Westbrook and Howard, you got 2 guys that can't shoot. So the whole game comes down to Wes agreeing, Russ agreeing that I'm going to shoot layups. I'll shoot maybe a couple of 3s a game and a couple of mid ranges, but basically I'm going to do layups and passes, and he'll do that. And when he does that, he's going to be flying all over the court. And the thing that everybody keeps forgetting, every time that you got.
He got so bad. He just got so mad. Tom, you're on mute. Folks, he just got so mad that he put himself on mute.
You put yourself on mute, Tom.
You're on mute. All I'll say is this. Sometimes, Tom, I ask questions. I know I'm going to get a fiery response from you, and I love it. And I absolutely love your fiery responses. I'm going to say I agree with you, but I'll let you finish up right now because you got so mad you just turned on mute. But go ahead, finish up, my friend. But now you're still on mute.
You're still on mute somehow.
You're still on mute. I think you knocked your microphone plug off.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Okay. Yes.
Oh my God.
Sorry about that, folks.
No, that's okay. You're good. Everybody loves your enthusiasm.
So
that's why you
at
have
any
a
rate,
legion of fans.
I keep hearing, and it's not just it's the articles I read, it's the podcasts I listen to, it's you guys talking, the friends, it's the people on the site. Everybody keeps talking about LeBron and AD. It's LeBron and AD. It's LeBron and AD. It's LeBron and AD. And it's like I'm sitting there. If I was Russell Westbrook, I'm sitting there thinking, what they think I'm Dennis Schroeder? I mean, because I'm being ignored. He's a 3rd superstar. He averaged a triple-double. More assists than LeBron does. He's a better passer for the lob. Really, and if you move LeBron and AD to the 4 and 5, who is going to be catching those lobs? Who's going to be taking shots closer to the rim like we want? Who's going to be passing out to those open shooters? All it takes is a little restraint and some good basketball IQ and understanding that, yeah, Russ, you can make Los Angeles a winner just as much as they can make you a winner.
Well, when we talk about LeBron and AD are the key. It's not Russ. Russ is a third star, but he is a number 3 third star.
He's the wild card this year. And
He's
everybody's
our
forgetting.
Kyrie.
But what drives this
He's our
team is
Kyrie.
LeBron and AD. If LeBron and AD are healthy, this team is a favorite for the NBA.
And how are they going to play? Are they going to play big or are they going to play small?
That's
Because
the problem. I mean,
all of the talk of them moving to the 4 and the 5 is about playing small.
but if I see Gasol out there starting, I'm
He's
not
not
going to
gonna
say I'm
start.
surprised.
You know
I'm not
why
going to
he's
say I'm
not gonna
surprised.
start
I
is
don't want that
because
to happen, though.
This is not Rob's plan. This is not Frank's plan. This is Russ, LeBron, and AD's plan.
Okay.
And the superstars rule this league.
And that
That's
they
the
do.
big difference that everybody's forgetting.
And I certainly hope that they agree to it and take your word for it. But Jamie and MagicMan, I'm going to save you for last, my friend, on your starting lineup. Hopefully you will not be so angry you'll turn yourself on mute on that for you. But Jamie, your thoughts on the starting lineup? I mean, LakerTom is preaching to the choir here. We all do not want to see Marc Gasol in that starting lineup. But your
I think he's
thoughts
going
on
to get traded.
Who's got what?
that's a possibility.
I don't
You know,
think he's not going to be on the roster, I don't think.
I'm going to tell you right now, I would love that Dennis Schroeder sign and trade for Marcus Smart. I would just love that from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah, me too.
That's too good to be true.
That's too good to
Yeah.
be true.
I heard that rumor and I was like, yeah, but that's just
Yeah.
a rumor right now. But Jamie, go ahead. What do you think the starting lineup is going to be like on opening day?
LakerTom's not going to like to hear this, but
Why?
I do think that I'll tell. So two reasons. So let me start. Russ obviously at the point guard. I'm going to say Kendrick Nunn as the shooting guard, but open to see him getting beat out by either Monk, if Monk can show us something defensively in training camp, or Bazemore. I could see us starting Bazemore at the 2 as well. That's what I really liked about the Kent Bazemore pickup is that he really slots in well at the 2 or the 3. If he's not at the 2, then I have Bazemore starting at the 3, just because he opens up all the aspects of the 4, and it allows for us to really have a lineup that has the best chance of staying healthy all season long. I worry about Ariza not being able to stand up to the 82 season grind and probably missing 15, 20 games over the course of the season. For maintenance or actual injury or whatever. And that was one of the hallmarks of our first champion, or Frank's first champion, was that there's very little roster flipping about and messing about. And last season was the complete opposite. I think we had 28 different starting lineups, guys in and out due to injury, guys in and out due to incompetence, just a complete, mess of a starting.
If they shoot their average, if all these guys being brought in, shoot their average of 40%, if Trevor Ariza shoots 35, 36% that he has done over the course of his career from time to time, if all the rest of these guys shoot their average that they shot last year, the Lakers are in a very good shape.
Yeah, they would be a good shape 3-point wise. I'm not worried about scoring. We have LeBron James, we have Anthony Davis, we have Russell Westbrook. I'm not worried about the offense. The Frank Vogel offense, whatever it is, will remain a juggernaut. But the superstar offense. That's now. You know what we should say? We should say the Frank Vogel offense now with more superstars. So that's how I'll start phrasing it from now on. I like that. So that works for me. Well, I'm worried about the defensive end, and so that's where guys like Monk, guys like THT, older guys like.
So who's starting at the 4 and
So
5?
who's your starters?
Well,
man?
you got me all derailed with your questions. I was in the middle of a groove, and you pull the switch on me and ask me about 3% percentage of shooting. I got 8 to start the games. I have AD at the 4, and LeBron at the 3, and Gasol at the 5. And I'll tell you why I have Gasol at the 5. There's 2 reasons. One, for all of his Russ can't shoot. Russ is terrible at 3-pointers. He has had a tremendous amount of success with elite rolling big men. So I see either in that regard, Dwight or Mark getting the starting nod. The only reason I give it to Mark is because Mark does shoot the 3-point shot.
Less than 1 a game. He makes less than 1 a game.
Yeah, but he makes a high percentage, and his passing is respected. You don't
Once
see
a game,
Mark's,
he'll make 1.
I don't. If you go back and watch from last season, you don't see Mark's guy sagging off down into the paint. He stops at the top of the key. He stops at the circle above the free throw line. So that is what I believe is the purpose of creating space.
Well,
So-
but you also you can also move around and reposition yourself to get open to fake. Mark goes out there like a statue, and it's easy to guard him because you can lean on other people because you know he's right there and he's not going to move.
If the goal is to create space, I don't see Mark as being a detriment to that. So, and it
So then you're left with only one shooter.
All right. Listen, we heard you. Mute. For crying out loud. The reason I say Mark is because he's an elite passer. He's an elite. He can hit from three. I know he's not a volume 3-point shooter, but he takes smart shots and he takes wise shots. So that's, to me, is worth more than volume. And he's still a defensive force. We had a high defensive rating on the floor with Marc Gasol in the lineup last season. That's what's going to drive our starting lineup. It's not going to be flash. It's not going to be volume 3-point shooting. It will be defensive efficiency. Now, will that be the lineup to close games? Definitely not. I wholly expect to see Anthony Davis at the 5 to close games. I wholly expect to see LeBron James at the 4 and the rest of the lineup to make itself work as everything dictates. For the first 5 minutes of the game, I think we're going to go OG Warriors, and it'll be Bogut 2.0 in the form of Marc Gasol because he can hit the 3.
Well, I'll tell you right now, thank you so much, Felix, for hopping on and checking us out tonight. But, Sean, your thoughts on the opening day lineup? I mean, my lineup was preferable to LakerTom, except for the fact that at the 3 spot, I think Bazemore got a guarantee, or at least got a strong wording of playing time. That's why he came over to Lakers. I know Kendrick Nunn, he's the only one that didn't sign at a minimum. He signed at 2 years, $10 million with a second year player option. But I think he's getting a strong look at the number two guard position, even though he's smaller at 6'2". I really think when it comes to what I would like to see, I'd like to see the game starting with AD at the 5. What I think we will see, unfortunately, because old habits die hard, is Gasol at the 5, unfortunately. I really do think, and I really do hope that they take LakerTom's advice, and I'll just leave it at that. But MagicMan, what are your thoughts on an opening day lineup for the Lakers?
Yeah, Gerald, I agree. I agree with you and agree with LakerTom. I don't think Gasol should start. I think the starting 5 should be Russ at the 1, Nunn at the 2, Bazemore at the 3, LeBron at the 4, and AD at the 5. That would be your optimal lineup for a couple reasons. One, you get the 3+2 lineup. So what do I mean by 3+2? Well, like LakerTom illustrated, Russ is a superstar. So you have Russ, AD, LeBron. You have 3 superstars. You put 2 shooters with them at all times on the court whenever they're together. So the 2 guys that would immediately meet that optimal need for offense and defense would be Kendrick Nunn and Bazemore. I mean, they're not stiffs defensively. Bazemore is very active. I think he'll be asked to guard multiple positions. I don't think it'll just be the best perimeter player on the court. One defensive tactic we saw in the playoffs, I mean, it didn't ultimately work out for the Hawks, but Nate McMillan decided, okay, I'm going to go small. And defensively, I'm going to put Trey on their 3rd best perimeter player. And if you want to play through him, by all means, go ahead, because you're taking the ball out of Chris Middleton and Giannis's hands. So it wouldn't surprise me if Frank had to employ a tactic like that or 2 defensively. I've seen it before. Getting back to Gasol, let me ask you guys a question. I know the Olympics, people have been in and out. The Minnesota Timberwolves have a problem on their hands right now. Juan Hernan Gomez is a really good player. He's quietly put together a pretty good career. He's got a pretty good game out on the court. Minnesota blocked him from competing with Spain in the Olympics, and he's pissed off. So it wouldn't surprise me if a contender picked him up. Now, I would prefer it would be us, I'm not sure if Marc Gasol in a second or two would do that. I don't know, but he's a really good player. He would replace Gasol immediately on the court with his defensive presence. Um, but yeah, I agree. I don't think Marc Gasol should see a lot of time. I didn't really give much thought to the Lakers trading him, as LakerTom illustrated, but now that I'm thinking about it, that's probably the best option going forward.
It probably is the best option for the team ultimately. I mean, I understand that the optics and the analytics say that Gasol maybe still have something left on the defensive end, but I've traditionally, with the eye test, seen him repeatedly beaten by smaller, faster, quicker guards and forwards.
Yeah.
And he's just not able to chase out to the line, the 3-point line. We've seen him get beat on several occasions trying to reach out and extend to the line. So I would be concerned if the Lakers still continue with Gasol. And but I'm like you, Jamie. I think that Frank Vogel, the optics for them die hard. Then the old habits that they have. I think that they'll try to start the traditional 5-4-3 type deal, which I think goes against what LakerTom and I think should be ultimately what the future for the team would be. And ultimately, by the end of the game, Gasol's not in there anyways, but still getting off to those bad starts. I mean, it frustrated LakerTom to no end when the team continuously got off to bad starts, and we were relating it to one area, and that was Gasol continuously on the floor, and the team was getting off to bad starts. So I'd like to see them go ahead and try something different. And if AD is more amenable to that, and I understand, as Felix is saying, is his health better, back injuries, age? I mean, he's still 28 years old. He's still in the prime of his career. He's always going to incur injuries because he wouldn't have signed that contract if he didn't know exactly how frail his body was. But, if he does have the health, I think it's best for put him at the 5 spot. But that's just me. But we'll see what happens.
The whole problem is that the offense and the defense, I mean, Jamie's right that we had good stats when there were good defensive numbers when we had the starting lineup that we had last year. But those numbers were never as good, and they weren't the numbers that won a championship. The team that won a championship was LeBron at the 4 and AD at the 5. And I would rather see them play the 4 and 5 and play 25 minutes a game rather than 30, to reduce any wear and tear that you got. And I'm not convinced that playing the 5 is more prone for injury than playing the 4. I think that when you're playing closer to the basket like that may be better for AD than playing where he starts off way off on the wing and gets a pass and tries to beat a guy, because that's when it seems like he's pulling all of these muscles in his back and so forth. So, it doesn't. I think the fact that we actually tried to trade, and obviously that trade to Minnesota involving Alex Caruso and Marc Gasol, that was obviously an attempt by the Lakers to get out of Gasol. And obviously Caruso wasn't willing to go to Minnesota, which is why that deal obviously fell apart. That's not like it's very difficult to, hey, Alex, you want to go play for the worst team in the league?
Right. With no hope of them getting better. Right. With no hope of them getting better anytime soon.
Not in your lifetime. Yeah, right. What do you think, Alex? How about that sound? He said, immediately. Hold on, I have to place a call to the Bulls.
Right.
Well, again, go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, no, Gerald. I was just gonna make a comment off that Wolves statement. I'm about being bold, so I'm gonna be bold here. Since we're bringing up the Siberia of the NBA, the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm gonna say that. Look, the only realistic deal out there for Ben Simmons right now, if they really need to trade him, is Minnesota. It would be D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and a few picks for him. That's the only realistic deal that Philly has right now, unless they want to circle the wagons back to Indiana and go hat in hand and ask for Malcolm Brogdon and that first round pick again, which I don't think you're going to get. So I'm just gonna make that bold
Dennis
prediction.
Schroeder.
I think if Philly does trade him, it's probably going to be the Siberia of the NBA.
You didn't like the Dennis Schroeder trade idea for?
Hey,
Nobody's paying him more than $5 billion.
We have enough. We can send enough picks now. They're only second rounders, but we've got 4 or 5 of them.
We should not waste them. We should let him walk away for nothing.
You know, Felix, Ben Simmons, if you were to go here to the Lakers,
Small
that would
ball
be the
center
best
for
thing.
the Lakers.
Yeah, that would be the most. That would be the best and mostly, just beneficial thing for the Lakers to get right now is that type of individual to play alongside and to somebody that could be playmaking and defensive and just match up 1 through 5 against anybody. I mean, that would be just too good for words. But I don't think Daryl Morey has any thought of trading him to the Lakers anytime soon.
No.
Nor of paying Dennis Schroeder Ben Simmons money. Let's be honest.
Yes,
right.
For all of his faults, Ben Simmons has taken a team by himself pretty far in the NBA.
Well,
That
you
isn't
could
Philly's
make
asking
a
shoot
doggone
free throws.
good small ball center with Ben Simmons.
I mean, I think he.
Oh God.
Him, LeBron, and AD on defense.
No, here, Tom. If at any point this year Joel Embiid is hurt for a long extended period of time, and Ben Simmons is still on the roster, you're going to have to play Ben Simmons and Andre Drummond together.
Yep.
And if you thought you had nightmares with him playing with LeBron and AD, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Well, but Andre and Joel are already such a they're just like the most unlikely match that you'd ever find as the 2 centers on a team.
I couldn't believe Dre chose to go there. I couldn't believe there wasn't somewhere.
Tom,
Well, that tells you what situation was for him.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, he didn't pull a Dennis Schroeder, but that was pretty close.
Yeah. Well, but right now with Ben Simmons,
he should have never accepted a buyout. He should have got paid.
No,
Sean, go ahead.
I actually think Drummond's situation is worse. I mean, he had to sign with the team, and he's got to back up his biggest troll.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I would love to be,
Sean. I agree.
I would love to be
Dennis,
in Philadelphia.
Dennis is still going to get paid at least $10 million.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But guys, it's been great talking to each and every one of you on tonight's episode. Love your thoughts on the starting lineups, and cannot thank enough Felix and everybody else that's watched and listened to tonight's program. But before we head on out, guys, let me know what you're doing for LakerHolics.com. It is the place to go for everything Lakers. Go ahead, be part of the conversation today at LakerHolics.com. Jamie Sweet, I'm going to start with you first. What's up for 5 things with Jamie Sweet?
What were we looking?
Probably not the Lakers Summer League team.
No, definitely not. There's no reason to talk about it. I love Summer League. I've gone to Summer League a lot. There's just not really I'll go and see them in El Segundo when they're playing for the South City. For the Lakers.
South Bay Lakers.
South Bay Lakers. I can't.
South Bay.
Yeah. Anyhow, working on why Russ is going to revitalize the non-existent Frank Vogel offense right now. There's Russ. Tom said it right earlier in the show when the Russ trade is kind of now been like, because maybe it happened so early and so much has happened since then, and like Kevin Durant was like, oh, I'll just get an extension. I don't need a ton of millions, which is, frankly, true. I'm sure he's paid plenty of money and a few extra million and allows them to maybe build a slightly better team around him, which, ought to be the goal one way or the other. I think that there are some things that Russell Westbrook brings to the table that have simply been overlooked because he does them so consistently and so well and, frankly, so effortlessly that you just end up taking – I mean, I don't know if there are 2 superstars that are relegated to the back heap of superstardom more than – Russ and LeBron. It's like, oh yeah, there's that LeBron at an advanced age taking a team to the NBA Finals and like doing it all. Oh, that LeBron. I don't understand it. So I think that there's a few things that Russ brings to the table that really have the potential to be incredibly dynamic in regards to the roster that Rob Pelinka has assembled. Defense isn't one of those things. I mean, I don't think he's going to be the whole on defense that he's portrayed as. I think he's going to be just fine. I'm a little bit more worried about our bench, frankly, than our starting five, because our starting five will have Davis and LeBron, who are both capable defenders. Probably going to have Bazemore at either the two or the three, depending on how the lineup shakes out. I honestly, for my starting five, I see Nunn as being the primary backup to Russ, so I don't necessarily see him as starting at the two. He's only 6'2". He's not very big, and that's kind of a good growth pattern or a growth trajectory for him to be on. It's like, look, man, like let's back up one of the best point guards in the league. And another thing I want to mention about Westbrook that is for the five things, but I'll mention it here because I think it bears mentioning. I don't think there's a better person to have on the team for THT than Russ Westbrook, because they have or could have very similar games that involve driving to the rim and either scoring at the rim, which THT needs to improve on, or making plays for others, which THT also needs to improve on. But he's capable of doing both. And he just needs to sort of find that inner Westbrook and figure out how to get to the rim more effectively than he did last season. If he does that, I think that the bench has a lot of potential at that point. With Nunn able to break the ball up and hit from the outside, and THT being kind of a Lamar Odom secondary playmaker or primary playmaker, depending on how the situation warrants.
All right, and you can find all of his thoughts on the 5 Things section at LakerHolics.com. Mr. Magic Man, Sean Grice, you watch him and you take a look at all of his comments, all of his great articles that he posts. What you working on for LakerHolics.com?
Well, Gerald, I'm not going to be writing about how the Pelicans are paying 3 head coaches right now. My God, they're paying Willie Green, they're paying Stan Van Gundy, and I believe Alvin Gentry still has a year left on his contract. This is
I don't see a good
unbelievable.
end for David Griffin. I'm just going to tell you right now, it is not looking pretty for David Griffin.
No, awful. I mean, 3 head coaches in your tenure. You've failed to make the play-in even.
Zion's already talking MSG.
It's slowly turning into a Titanic situation in New Orleans.
And your big trade for a point guard is Tomas Satoransky.
Well, that trade may not go through.
Yeah, that's true. The league is looking into that.
Oh, it'll go through.
It could be a bogey situation.
Well, that would be on Chicago's part. That would most likely be on Chicago getting most of the brunt of that instead of New Orleans. New Orleans may get a little slap on the wrist, but
right.
If
they avoided the Bogdanovich trade, though.
Yeah, I don't think. I think this one has gone too far along. That one was because it was already sealed up before free agency.
Yeah,
And that's why they put the kibosh on that one a little bit sooner. I think just because the timeline now is past the free agency, I think that they'll let it go, but they may do what they did. I don't think they'll do a David Smith, Joe Smith. Yeah, they won't do David Smith, Joe's, where they took away 5 number ones.
Probably not.
Yeah, but they'll take away.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, they'll take some second rounds and maybe some.
Lonzo could go where Lowry went, and Lowry could go where Lonzo went.
Yeah. So, but go ahead, Sean. Finish up what you got working on.
Yep. I was gonna say, Gerald. You basically went over the West. Pretty much. I mean, I think we're going to be a top 3 seed. I ultimately think that one of Phoenix or Golden State will ultimately be a 3 seed, barring health. I think Golden State's really going to jump up this year. In the East, it's looking like 5 teams and then a bunch of teams in the middle. I mean, you've got Brooklyn, you've got Milwaukee, you've got Miami, you've got Philadelphia, and you've got Atlanta. And of those 5 teams, Atlanta and Philly are probably the weakest of the 5. So you're looking at a top 3 of, Miami, Brooklyn, and Milwaukee. And if you're looking at the situation right now, I mean, just brass tacks, like Jamie was saying, fart in the wind. It looks like the Bucks are I don't think they match up well right now with either Miami or Brooklyn. However, let's face it, Gerald, of all the talk of the Brooklyn Nets, we all know it's going to come down to health. And does anybody of the 4 of us here believe that all 3 of them are going to be 100% at the same time next year during the playoffs? I mean, we haven't seen it yet, so seeing is believing. We have to see it. I think the addition of Patty Mills helps
1 out of
them.
3 years.
Yeah, I just think Miami is a really sneaky team here. I was hot on them in the bubble. I think what Riles has done is made them really top heavy. So the Heat more than the Lakers are going to be relying on health, because if anything happens to Lowry, Butler, or Bam, they don't have a lot of depth. That's the difference. The Lakers went with depth, and the Heat went with being very top heavy right now. So it's going to be interesting how it all unfolds, Gerald, and I'll get more into it in my article.
All right, looking forward to that. And you can find the Magic Man today at LakerHolics.com. But last but not least, the mastermind himself, what you working on at LakerHolics.com, Mr. LakerTom.
I've actually got like 6 or 7 articles that are partly done.
Back to the old Tom.
Yeah, well, it's just, there's just all sorts of things that you can talk about now that,
as Raphael said,
that won't change. But like Raphael says, you hate to write an article where the pressure is to finish the article before the news changes, because it's not much fun, But I think that they're,
it's hard to pantomime just trying to load up a 6-shooter. So I'm just happy to do
It's happening,
Gerald.
Yes.
But listen, one of the things that I think is unique about Lakerholics is that we're really Laker fans. And, I don't care how objective you may want to try to be or how glass half empty you may want to be. We're still pretty, this was an amazing season. We went into this off season without without a whole lot of trading chips, without a whole lot of expectations. And yet we accomplished 2 things that I have been screaming for 3 things really, that I've been screaming for the last 2 years. One is shooting. We've got shooting now that we've never had before. And these are guys that can really fill it up. Yeah, they may not be as good at defenders as Alex Caruso and Kenny were, but man, they can really change the game for players like LeBron.
They're not afraid to shoot. They're not
afraid to shoot. They're eager to shoot. The second thing that I've just been screaming for, and this is something that I just love. I can't wait for Jamie's 5 things, man, because Russell has been disrespected, man. You've disrespected a guy who averaged a triple-double, and he's only 32 years old.
For the 4th time in 5 seasons.
4th time in 5 seasons. So, I mean, that's the big 3, man. Shooting in the big 3. We got both of them. And then on top of that, because Russ met with LeBron and AD and they worked out how they wanted to play together, we're going to see small ball. It's what I call monster ball, because our small guys are big and long and athletic and fast. This is we gave them a taste in the bubble of what an AD LeBron small ball could do, but they ain't seen nothing yet, because when you throw Russ into the package and you put in a bunch of shooters, this team is just going to destroy people. So I'm excited for the season. I think there are still the biggest questions really to me are they haven't announced the Caruso trade yet. So there's a question of whether or not we were able to get a trade exception. Would have been just for $4 million. And Caruso, Schroeder's still floating around out there. We need to get some trading chips back from them, because the only trading chips we really have when we go into the trade deadline or next summer right now are Nunn's $5 million contract and Talen's $10 million contract. THT, you better be shooting a lot of threes, man, because you could be on the trade market if your shot's not developing the way that the Lakers really need it to develop.
Tom, let's be honest. He's already on the trade market in your mind.
Well, you think he's on a trade market, really?
No. You like to trade everybody.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, no, but if the Lakers need to make a move,
Yes, you do.
we don't have
Yes, you
anybody
do.
else.
You do.
He's the only one we got to
What
trade.
I love is that free agency is like 5 days into it. You're like,
Well,
but
it's
who
a lot,
are we
it's a
gonna
lot easier to trade the guy after you just gave him $30 million than to not trade to trade him before he gets paid. You know.
We haven't even seen training camp, and you're already like posting 3 articles a day about.
Well,
Well,
all I'm trying
Who
to
are we
say
gonna
is that if we want to make if we need to make a deal
What
at the
will
trade
I talk about
deadline,
mid-season?
or if we need to make a trade at the next summer, we don't have contracts to trade. We're not like the Dallas Mavericks, who've got like 6 or 7 contracts that range from $4 to $15 million. We got a $5 million and a $10 million, and they're 2 guys that probably we don't want to trade.
No, but you got all the veteran minimums. I mean,
Well, yeah. Well, we're going to give you 5 vet shooters for
one
$10 million player.
No, what I'm saying is that you can rework over a third of the roster at the vet minimum level. Like
these guys want to get a ring. If these guys get a ring, man, they're leaving. They're leaving.
What I'm saying. Or just
I don't know.
None's there to build a reputation, to get a ring, and to build a brand.
Or
he
not
wants
coming
to get
back.
paid.
It's
We can only give him 20% raise.
No, we're not going to. No. That's not what I'm saying. You're misconstruing. What I'm saying is that there's a huge chunk of the roster that may or may not be here next summer, and that it will be.
Well, there are 8 guys that have 1-year contracts.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. Well, you can find out more about all the guns in the chamber, all the bullets in the chamber for the gun, the smoking gun that LakerTom has for you guys, with articles today at LakerHolics.com, and check out the upcoming many articles that he has in store for you at LakerHolics.com. Please be part of the conversation today at LakerHolics.com. Well, guys, it's been great having you on, talking a little bit about Lakers Summer League. But they did go to 2-1. They pull out the victory in the last seconds of the game, 73-72. We're still not high on the team, but we're hoping that there's some good things. Maybe Austin Reeves, maybe Joel Ayayi, maybe even the kid that looks like a kid, Mac McClung. Maybe he can actually go ahead and do something later on for us, but we'll see right now. It's still a work in progress, but I'm checking out the league for some more observations on other players and other rookies, so I hope to have those conversations coming up in the coming days, plus maybe even some more Lakers fans out there from some other great sites that I've talked to and reached out to. So hopefully we'll hear some more opinions and thoughts on the Lakers as well. It's these guys right here at LakerHolics.com in the coming days. But thank you so much for watching and listening. This has been the Lakers Fast Break podcast. You can always get a hold of us, LakersFastBreak at yahoo.com, at LakersFastBreak on Twitter. LakerTom is at LakerTom on Twitter, where I'm sure he's always working on a trade for you out there. But guys, it's been great having you here, and I look forward to talking to you again soon right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast.